No, thank you. And again, I wasn't going to put it in the record, but I will. You know, one of Mr. Rosiak's tweets just says, turns out lots of DEI hires are both dumber and vastly more immoral than their competent predecessors. And I don't think that the evidence would actually bear that out. I just think that basically continues to reflect a pre-existing bias. So, Mr. Hart, in your testimony, you called for transparency surrounding contracting. A recent study found that donors to the President's Ballroom project have received $279 billion in federal contracts over the last 5 years. Mr. Hart, do you think those donors to the ballroom should have to disclose their names?
Well, Mr. Markey, what I believe is that in our Constitution, the founders described transparency not as a two-way street, but a one-way street. In other words, as taxpayers, we have the right to inspect the government's checkbook. However, the government does not have the right to inspect our checkbook. I think that's the constitutional standard of transparency, and when we conflate those two, we actually dilute the meaning of transparency in the Constitution. I'm an equal opportunity oversight person. I think we should look at the spending of everything. But if we expand the aperture of the hearing to look at ballroom spending, we should also look at healthcare fraud. And the Pete Peterson Foundation found that there's $925 billion in healthcare fraud. So the other title of the hearing could be the opportunity cost of fraud for small business, which is extreme all over the federal government, particularly in the healthcare sector.
No, thank you. And this year, I have sent a number of letters to the SBA asking about DOGE's activities. And requested a meeting with DOGE in February. That has yet to occur, and I've asked for that meeting with DOGE and the SBA, led by the chair, over and over and over again. We haven't had it. DOGE is in like a witness protection program. You know, they're someplace. We know they're someplace. They're inside of SBA. And by the way, the same thing is true over the Environment Committee. No hearings. Over at Labor, no hearings, no hearings, no hearings. They're inside, you know, but we don't have any hearings on it. And we know there's a lot of waste and fraud and abuse, corruption going on. We just aren't going to have any hearings on it. And I think we're going to finish the whole term without ever having had a hearing on DOGE inside of these federal agencies. And that's a crime in and of itself, you know, that we're not going to look at that. It's hiding in plain sight right in front of us, DOGE inside of these agencies. What kind of self-serving activities are they engaging in? Who are they helping by the decisions which they are making? What's going on? Well, we're the Committee of Jurisdiction, and we haven't had a hearing yet. We haven't had a joint investigation yet. We have done nothing, you know, to find out what is going on. So what little we do know about DOGE's dealings at SBA is coming from the media rather than SBA's responses to my congressional requests. I've made this request over and over and over again. And in rare cases where I've received a response, there is no helpful information, which we get. They write their answer essentially in invisible ink. They don't provide the information which the public, Mr. Hart, is entitled to, the transparency. It's a one-way street. It's coming out of the federal government to the American people. Then they can judge what's going on. They're not going to provide that information. And it's my understanding that GAO also has had some trouble getting Administrator Loeffler and her team to respond to requests for information that is necessary for your work. And I'm very glad to hear that GAO is conducting a government-wide review of the administration's efforts to implement the President's executive orders, including how DOGE has been used to access data and make policy decisions without any transparency. Who are they helping? What businesses are they helping? What friends of the President are they helping? We don't know. And it's not just SBA, it's every agency. It's the entire federal government. So, Dr. LaFountain, is GAO looking to see how DOGE complied with privacy and information law?
Yes, we have a body of work, at least 8 engagements ongoing on issues related to DOGE, and we do have one engagement on DOGE and data protections that is looking at compliance with privacy and information law.
Okay, so again, I reiterate to you, Madam Chair, I request that this committee hold a hearing on GAO's findings about DOGE, specifically about their compliance with data and information security laws. This would be especially helpful since we never heard from DOGE despite our efforts to get them to brief our committee. And I make that, again, as a special request to you. I think the American public is waiting for the answers to the questions they are asking about what's going on inside of the SBA.
Yes, and thank